Hey, this is Theo Goodman from Bitsonline.com, and we are here today with Jihan from Bitmain. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Great. And you gave a talk today. It was pretty interesting. It was about multiple implementations of Bitcoin and why you think that's really important. First, I want to ask you again at the beginning of that talk, you talked about different governance models and about in open source projects. There's democracy, there's dictatorship, and there's other ones. Where do you see Bitcoin? Where does that fall as far as a governance right now? What model?
First, I think we should look at the software of Bitcoin Core. Bitcoin Core as a piece of software right now, I think definitely we can safely say that it's governed by a design committee. That a small group of people will decide the direction of whether this piece of software will go. But Bitcoin as kind of a social agreement, I think this is the first time that in human history that we have such a thing. I think that in the past we just let the whole social agreement being governed by the same software that is a reference implementation of Bitcoin Core. But I believe that this model have got some problem. I think that the social agreement of Bitcoin cannot be just under the same control of the design committee of a small group of people.
Okay, so a design committee of a small group of people. I do see what you mean. I mean, we all know the so-called stars of Bitcoin Core, Luke Jr. or Greg Maxwell, etc. But if you look at the GitHub and all the contributors, it is a wide range of people. It is a lot of different people. Could you still really call it a small group that contributes? I don't have the numbers right off the top of my head, but really, if you look over it, it's a lot of different people from different companies that have contributed to the Bitcoin Core GitHub. So you still would say it's a small committee?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Actually, in open source software culture, this phenomena have been thoroughly researched. It's kind of contradictory to people's instinct that the first software is open source. You can copy, you can fork away at any time you want, and it's all the open source software can be contributed by all the people around the world if you have the right skills, and you can start to submit a pull request to the GitHub, and you can work on it. Basically, that's both the truth. However, most of the open source software have kind of ownership issues. If you fork away and add some patch that is not got a consent from the original, you need maybe it's a one person or a small group of persons consent. You can fork away and patch a thing that without the consent of the original group of people. This behavior in open source community is widely unacceptable. People will call it kind of rocket patch. It's not only Bitcoin things. It's all the open source software things. Because in such kind of phenomenon, people will say that, oh yeah, indeed, the open source software have kind of ownership things. This is kind of a common law about just like a land title, right? Some group of people just moved into a piece of land. No one owns this piece of land. He started to build things on this land. He becomes the owner of this land. Maybe one day he discarded this piece of land, and some other people build new things around it, and the new people will become the ownership of this land. Maybe lots of people still make contributions, but who owns this piece of land is still kind of clear. This is still kind of ownership. So those people who make arguments that there are hundreds of people contribute to core, and then core is owned by hundreds of people or is not owned by a small group of people, that is not true. The GitHub have a kind of lead maintainer position that his authority is much higher than other committers, and there are definitely a very clear people see that you said the stars, they have very strong influence, stronger than any other group of people, and the mailing list discussion can be censored, and it's fine because the mailing list is privately owned. The owner of the mailing list can have its right to censor any opinion he thinks that it's right to censor. So this is all about ownership. It's valid as nature that if there's ownership, right?
What do you mean by censorship, and where would that take place? You mean like on the email discussion list or on a website, or where do you think the censorship is going on that you referred to?
In the mailing list, there is censorship, and in the traditional Bitcoin discussion, community discussion channel like a bitcointalk.org and our Bitcoin, there are widely no censorship existed.
Okay, so that's what. Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. They have the ownership. I
was going to ask you. Yeah, where do you draw the line between moderation and having rules, and censorship? And yeah, you said okay, it's fine. They own the website or they own the subreddit. Let's say. I mean, you can't. Reddit owns the subreddit, but they made the subreddit, right? And you can make your own subreddit. So, but you're referring to social media and the email list, in your opinion, are censored if there's not the right opinion.
I think that if there is a very important issue about the block size, for example, block size is a very important issue for the Bitcoin protocol, and one side of the opinion or kind of disappeared or cannot be submitted to the communication channel. I think that is censorship. First is important. Second is ledger discussion on this matter, and then one direction of the opinion were just disappeared. I think this kind of phenomenon, I think, is censorship. If the moderation usually just to maintain the discussion orders on certain important matters, you just don't oppress one side of the opinion.
Okay, so it's bias, in your opinion. It's not just moderation because somebody is attacking or I don't know, breaking another standard. It's also about a side, in your opinion. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's talk about ASICBOOST.
Okay.
We're in Netherlands, and we're at the border. It's not far away from Aachen, Germany, where ASICBOOST was first invented or thought about and patented. And so what if you want you to explain for someone that's 5 years old in a real simple way, what is ASICBOOST?
ASICBOOST is kind of way that if you design the Bitcoin hash rig in such kind of a way, the energy cost of the rig will be reduced up to like 20% or 30%. It depends on lots of
so it's much more efficient.
Yes, energy cost.
20 and 30% is a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is extra software that is added to the hardware that helps to make it more efficient, basically.
Yes.
Okay, and so it is patented. Does Bitmain have a right to use it? And do you use it, or did you use it in the past?
Bitmain holds kind of a patent application in China for such kind of method, and but the fact is that we have never been used it on the production of the Bitcoin main chain network. I think this issue is because that mining is kind of a relative. It's kind of a competition that between your competitors. Bitmain have always been the number one rigs on the market, so there is no need for us to use ASICBOOST to be the number one. We're already there, and I think very short time after we have after we released the S7, there was kind of email discussion in Bitcoin Core that they think that ASICBoost is patented, and so that is very bad. They have lots of reasons about this. At that time, we respected Core a lot. So I think maybe without their consent, without meeting with some kind of their moral standards, so we should not use ASICBoost. So basically, we did not, we have not been using ASICBoost.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Okay.
I think I remember, was that maybe the end of 2015 or the beginning of 2016? The first time that it was talked about, I remember it was, this is this time you're talking, just to give everyone context.
Yeah.
Because it's not real, in Bitcoin time, it's not very, it's a long time ago in Bitcoin time, because everyone forgets the context. So it was a little bit of a different feeling in the community than right now, I think.
Yes.
And so you said, okay, the discussion was pretty much on the email list and consensus, ASICBoost patent, it's negative, and we're going to go along with that. That's what you meant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and if everyone does not use ASICBoost, then it will be fine for Bitmain. If everyone use ASICBoost, it will be also fine for Bitmain. So we kind of accept the fact that we don't use it, as long as there is no other parties in this world use it.
Okay. And so recently, I don't know, less than 3 months ago, or I'm guessing around, it came out, some people said, hey, I think I found evidence of you guys using, as a Bitmain, using ASICBoost on the mainnet, and they posted the technical reasons, and there was argument, yes it is, yes it isn't. So you're still saying all that technical stuff they posted is not a proof of someone using ASICBoost. That's what you're saying?
Definitely, it's not evidence, right?
Okay.
It's kind of indirectly evidence. First, that Greg Maxwell said that he have been done some kind of reverse engineering. I think any serious person would ask what kind of reverse engineering he's doing, because reverse engineering in kind of 16 nanometers or even 28 nanometers chip costs lots of money. So you need to ask him what kind of reverse engineering is he doing. And we don't think that kind of reverse engineering is possible. And one of the very interesting idea Greg Maxwell posted is about the covert way of using ASICBoost. That he claims that that if Bitmain is, he did not mention Bitmain name, but
he implied
it's us. If Bitmain is using ASICBoost, Bitmain will earn like more than $100 million per year. What was my feeling when I read that? I was excited. I should really look into that. And,
you should start using it.
Yes, we should start using that.
What were we doing the whole time?
But soon I found it out, and a lot of people found it out. The mathematics is absolutely wrong. That if Bitmain is using the covert way of ASICBoost, we will save like $1 or $2 million electricity cost per year. That's all we can get from using ASICBoost covertly, according to G. Maxwell's method.
Okay, so it's not the full. It's not the full 20 and 30. You have to do other things just to make it real simplified.
No. Let's not suppose that it can save 20% cost.
Okay.
But we need to pay attention that it's saving cost. It's not a boost in revenue. Do you see that difference, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So if you save about 20% cost, and we just calculate how much the total network hash rate is, and you can also have your estimation of how much Bitmain running in its own mining farm. Yes. And what is the cost of the electricity right now is, and you can save 20%. Very, very simple mathematics. You will get that, it's just roughly maybe like $1 million or $2 million.
Okay.
That's not really worth our engineering efforts, because if you really want to do the covertly, it's quite very, very much more difficult than you do it overtly. And the power saving effect is much, much less as well. Okay,
let's move on to another topic. And the question is, by some people, is it related or unrelated, is SegWit, of course. And everyone, SegWit, why aren't you signaling? Are you going to signal? Someone told me he said he would signal if or immediately, different quotes. It's, of course, out of context. So I don't have it. I can't say when and where, and it's quite difficult. Things change. People say things, of course, right?
Yeah.
Especially in Bitcoin, time goes by really quickly. Sometimes people quote the old thing and so on, but it's really simple. So what is the main... I know that you're in favor of multiple implementations, but what's the main reason stopping you from, signaling SegWit?
In the early time of 2016, a group of Bitcoin miners, lots of Bitcoin exchanges and other businesses, and some core developer individuals have signed a agreement called a Hong Kong agreement that we will bundle, basically it's a bundle of 2 megabyte block size increase with SegWit. In the summer of 2016, we visited California and to see what's going on with the Hong Kong government, right? And that kind of conference, basically we got a kind of impression that the block size was about to be increased after the SegWit. So based on that kind of context, so definitely I said, okay, let's do SegWit, right? Let's do SegWit and then increase block size. The
two things.
Yeah,
increase SegWit and hard fork to make 2 megabytes.
Yes, and maybe there is a lot of kind of hard promise, right? Because I know those consensus, those kind of consensus stuffs. It's very complicated. Okay, but my judgment is that there's kind of good intention. So I say maybe we should do the SegWit very fast. But later I think that according to, I start to read after the California conference, and when I go back to Beijing, and because Greg Maxwell posting a lot on Reddit, right? And you look at his public opinion about the block size issues, and you can see that he's so small block, even after the California meeting. I think that when people's behavior will more aligned with what he said publicly than he said privately. Because in the California private conversations, Greg Maxwell is generally basically very okay with increasing the block size, but when he comes to the public, he's a very, very small blocker. So I think that our impression in California were wrong. This is first turning point. Second is that we got kind of a hint. It's not a promise. We got kind of a hint that they were going to announce a block size increasing plan in the MENA conference. That was we kind of a soft promise we got from the California conference. However, such kind of a plan was not announced in MENA. So we think that basically it's not going to happen. They were not going to increase block size. So I think we should stick to the Hong Kong agreement that if there's a low block size increase, there's a low SegWit. That's it.
Okay. So no block size increase, then no SegWit, as far as your opinion.
Yeah, and I want to clarify that in California we have never made kind of a promise that we will signal SegWit. But based on the context that we believe they have good intention to increase block size, then we will signal SegWit.
Okay. What do you think about the new proposals, SegWit 2x, and there's user activated fork? And then I think you made a new one. What is it now?
User activated fork includes two kind of this soft one and hard fork one.
Yeah, right. A user activated soft fork, user activated hard fork, and then so different. And then I think that you commented on Twitter, if one of these comes, then you're going to do a different one.
Yes.
Can you just quickly explain what you meant by that? Or which one would trigger you to say, oh no, I'm going to do now another fork because this one is signaling? Or
because soft fork, technically seeing is kind of a it's kind of coercive that you just scam the older unupgraded nodes into the new consensus rules without let them knowing that. Technically, I think it's fine. It's neutral. Because if you basically just have consensus, right? If we just have 3 nodes and both 3 of us have a kind of consensus, we need to upgrade the nodes. But maybe me, I'm too lazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say, okay, I'm going to have a holiday and you 2 days upgrade. And 3 days I will upgrade later. In this way, if you do soft fork, that's okay because you guys just can upgrade it and my node is not upgraded, then it's okay. But if we don't have agreement, and you do it in a soft fork, and to force me to upgrade, I think that's absolutely wrong, very, very, very wrong. So in that way, if I really don't agree with you, I will need to hard fork away.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay, we just had Craig Wright appear at the conference as a surprise, or a surprise to some people. You think that he's Satoshi? Or do you think it matters?
I think I don't comment on this question.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, I won't get into what everyone can watch the old streams, but it's just a topic everyone was discussing at lunch, of course, because he gave his talk right before lunch. So of course nobody wants to comment on anything. All right, well, getting back to what you were talking about this morning regarding smart contracts, and of course Bitmain invested into Rootstock, and they're trying to do smart contracts on a side chain, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and you said that Bitcoin kind of missed the boat, or Bitcoin missed the whole smart contract thing. Yeah, what concrete use cases do you think smart contracts can be used for in real life?
I think that's kind of a decentralized ledger for a partnership or company's capital table. It's kind of very important use cases.
Mm-hmm.
As I told in the presentation, that I was a very early investor of ASICBOOST, and in the very beginning, our the capital table of ASICBOOST was registered and was bookkept on the centralized website called glbse.com. And one day, the owner of the glbse.com freaked by the UK security regulators and shut it down. And everyone's in chaos, and no one can prove that his shares in ASICBOOST. So from that time, I know we have discussed in the community that we need a kind of decentralized ledger of capital table. I think at least this is a very good use cases. I have saw this. I think lots of people envision this, and definitely they have evidence that the ERC20 protocol have been widely used and generate this ICO hypes. It's real life use cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that exists now on Bitcoin. You can use counterparty. You can make a token. You could have your ASIC miner shares as a counterparty token, and you could trade it on the decentralized counterparty exchange, peer to peer. No, nobody can tell you no. It is essentially a smart contract, the creation of the asset and the trading of it. It does not work for Bitcoin against the token right now, but you can set up a site of your own with a server that does allow that. I know someone that does have that, so it is possible already right now with Bitcoin. What do you think of that? Do you think that's would you make a Bitmain share on a counterparty token or ICO or something like that?
This color call idea is very old.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that one technology, whether it's widely adopted or not, got its reasons. Somehow that the ERC20 become the most successful use cases for the decentralized ledger for such kind of capital table. I think it's maybe I don't know exactly what is the reasons why people use ERC20 and a lot of color coin. I don't know.
Well, maybe they get funding to use ERC20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm only giving a speculating example. I don't have a concrete, but if I'm a startup and an investor says, "Hey, why don't you raise money and you do it on Ethereum with ERC20?" and say, "Okay, we're using ERC20."
Yeah.
And if someone says, "Hey, use colored coin or counterparty token," then and the investors tell them to do it, they might do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Okay, well, you talked about that and about what do you think about Ethereum, and what do you think about the future of Ethereum? Do you think that it's going to have a future? Because you mentioned a few things. Smart contracts, of course, Ethereum has that, but you're invested in rootstock. But also about inflation and about how that's an interesting idea, and you thought that. Explain what you mean by that, and do you have a proposal for Bitcoin like that? Do you think Bitcoin should change to be have something like that, or
I don't have any kind of a specific proposal right now for how Bitcoin should behave, because this is kind of fundamental political and economic incentive design that have emerged from the altcoin space. You know that we have kind of thousands of altcoins, and definitely there will be some very interesting and very good stuff comes out, and I think this is important one that I think absolutely most of the cryptocurrencies right now have a kind of inflation. Bitcoin have its inflation, right? It's a block reward, and Ethereum have inflations, and almost every cryptocurrency have its inflation. The inflation is some new tokens were generated and injected into the circulation of the economy without any reasons, just designed by so to provide economic incentives, or just because we need such kind of tokens in circulation. For proof of work chain in the past, that all those inflation income belongs to miners, but we have seen that right now a few such kind of blockchains start to share this kind of inflation revenue with miners and the coin holders for some reasons. For example, one competitive chain just share it because the holders set up full node, and the full node provided some kind of coin mixing fungibility service for the community. I think this is quite interesting, and basically right now the Ethereum start to build the POW and the POS hybrid system. This kind of system, if you there may be lots of technical reasons to build consensus. However, if you look through the thing, that basically is kind of the miners and the coin holders are sharing the inflation revenue together. So I don't know how Bitcoin can do that. If we do it a simple way, maybe we can just do some kind of a soft fork to do it, but I really don't know how to do it exactly the best way. But this is something that is emerging. It's new. I do believe it's good.
Okay, so a hybrid proof of work, proof of stake, in your opinion, could be good for other coins, but maybe not in Bitcoin.
Yeah,
but
it's not exactly hybrid proof of work and a proof of stake, but I just mean that the economic incentive design.
That the people, different incentive to run a node, incentive to hold.
The coin, yes.
Okay, well, coming up, we did talk about the SegWit 2x, and there's the user activated fork, and there's some deadlines coming up really soon. You know, because it's is it the 1st already? Is today the 1st or the 30th?
August 1st.
Yeah, but today is the 30th of June, right?
Yeah, 30th of
right.
June.
Today is so it's not long.
Yeah.
And the SegWit 2x is sometime in July. They were talking about, because of course they put it right in front of the other one, because they want to kind of like jump in front of the line. Like if you're all, I'm important too, look at me, kind of. It's just my feeling, you know. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we have a deadline. We have a deadline too. I don't know if you know there's a game show in America called Price is Right,
Yeah.
And they try to have the price, and then the person that last says $1, because if you go over, you lose. But if everyone's too high, and that's kind of what happened. It reminds me of this a little bit, this kind of game, you know. But maybe before then there'll be another fork, and it's the 20th, a few days before the 2x one. At this, everyone wants to fork now, right? So, okay, so we're at the end of the interview, and now it's prediction time. Okay, it's just for fun, but okay. So give us what do you think is going to happen between these two deadlines? What is your prediction? Do you think that one of them is going to be successful, or do you think the whole network is going to go to chaos for a few days, or what's your prediction?
Well, because I'm preparing and I'm thinking of the scenarios too much. So basically, in my opinion, that is everything is possible right now. I really it's really hard for me to make a kind of prediction. But we should pay attention that SegWit 2x have lots of economic players in this on this agreement, and lots of them, most of them have the willingness to push this agreement through. They really want to do it. It's not a Hong Kong agreement. In Hong Kong agreement, lots of signatories just want to betray that contract. But in the New York agreement, I think lots of economic players really want to work around this to activate SegWit first and to increase block size later. I think this is the most thing that we should take into our mind. And UASF, I think it's not got any tractions in this community. And I think the recent implementation of BTC1 is doing the UASF guys a favor that to help save them from falling to their own small world.
So you think that jumping ahead of them, in your opinion, is
just to help them. I think if they really want, and maybe we can delay the activation of SegWit 2x a little bit, and maybe like on July 2nd or July 3rd, and to let themselves to play around for a while to let their experiment to go through. Right, it's the first time of USF indeed. In the history of Bitcoin, they said, "Oh, we have doing it in the past strong. We have never done that in the past." It's the first time to do a USF in the history. Maybe we can let them to play on the August 1st.
You mean just to see what happens?
Yes, maybe it's for fun. I know if you look at Junior's GitHub, he's already preparing a hard fork to change the POW or change the difficulty to save their chain, right? Their chain will not alive. There's so small supporters in the ecosystem to do that. Maybe they really need to do hard fork. Luke Jr. was always opposed to the hard fork, and right now he's trying to do hard fork to save BMP 148. So we can see through the face, through the surface, that how hypocritic these people are. It's really fake.
Okay. All right, and one final prediction. What do you think the Bitcoin price will be on August 1st?
According to the history of Ethereum, the people usually will panic that if there's a chain split.
Bitcoin price?
Yes, Ethereum panicked when there's chain split.
So it did.
Yes,
yeah.
And so if there is a chain split on August 1st, I think people will panic. But after that, let's look at the Ethereum history again. What happened, right?
True. So if you use and isn't it ironic? It was almost was in August, but it was nearly a year ago that the Ethereum split happened. It was August 20th or middle of August, but it was the summer. It was a similar feeling. It was this time of the year, you know. Maybe this time of the year is the fork time of the year that people just feel like they have to do something. I don't know, but it happened last year. Wow. And it was very close to the same time. I don't know why, but it's things.
Yeah, that's mysterious.
Yeah, that's a little mysterious, don't you think?
What happened next year of August?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, okay. So Thanks a lot for doing the interview. Any last comments for anyone? How can we find information about you? Should we follow you on Twitter and quote you on all your tweets, or what should we? How can we find you? Any final words?
Oh yes, I think follow me on Twitter is quite good.
Okay.
Thank you. And my last comment is that I think that the Bitcoin blockchain is kind of a software implementation for social agreements that people voluntarily need to join in, and you cannot force people to change something, and also you cannot force a group of people not to change something. That's my last comment.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.